Imagine getting the chance to buy Bitcoin again at $350. That's when I bought my first Bitcoin, about 10 years ago. Back then, even at $350, everyone thought that Bitcoin was too expensive, too overvalued, that it had run too much. After all, it had already run from $13 that year. But anyone that invested $1,000 in Bitcoin at $350 turned that $1,000 into $350,000. That's a 350x return. And so ever since then, investors have flocked into the crypto market looking to find the next Bitcoin, looking to emulate the returns that the old Bitcoin investors had. But Bitcoin was unique. It was an idealistic movement of the smartest cypherpunks, all united around a common cause, a common ideology. The promise of a decentralized money that could not be controlled by governments.
The government, no matter how many guns they draw, cannot change a mathematical problem. They can point their guns at 2 + 2, but it's always going to equal 4.
A money that was private and could be sent from anywhere to anyone at any time. But Bitcoin didn't succeed in its original mission. It's not a peer-to-peer cash, and it's certainly not private.
Individual privacy has completely been ignored.
I mean, for one, the transactions are way too slow and way too expensive to be cash, right? Also, the fact that every transaction is public and linked back to a wallet, which links back to all your other wallets, isn't really practical.
Everybody can now see everything we do on chain. Crypto without privacy is literally not crypto.
I mean, even though transparency is great, you can't expect to pay for coffee and let the barista see every transaction you've ever made and your account balance. Also, if we're going to get institutions into crypto, you can't expect institutions to use crypto if every investment they make is public. And so, whereas Bitcoin may have found its way as a store of value, it's left a void for a protocol that's faster, cheaper, and allows for selected privacy. And that's where I think I found another Bitcoin. The same smart cypherpunk movement, the same proof of work technology, the same 21 million coins, the same ideology, but only this time with privacy. And it's not a new protocol. It was launched not long after Bitcoin. And some of its contributors and developers, well, they were part of the original Bitcoin developer team. Some of them were even cited in Satoshi's white paper. The protocol is Zcash. It's a Bitcoin-style proof-of-work protocol. It's peer-to-peer and decentralized. It's immutable, and it's private. And today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I'm buying Zcash and adding it to my portfolio right now, even after the run. As I mentioned, Zcash is not a new protocol. It's been around for years. So why now? Well, that's the first reason. The need for privacy. Up until now, privacy was a swear word in crypto. The previous administration was hostile to crypto, and the one thing they hated more than crypto was private crypto. You see, in their controlling view, all privacy transactions were illicit and were being done to facilitate things like drug deals. But that's not the case. Privacy is a basic human right. It's entrenched in the 5th Amendment in the Constitution. Also, as I mentioned, it's not logical that every time I make a payment, the other party can see every single transaction I've ever made and my account balance. That just doesn't make sense. It also doesn't make sense that every transaction or investment that an institution makes will be seen by everyone. Luckily for us, the new administration gets this.
I too have been troubled by this fact that we have given up financial privacy as sort of we've assumed that we don't have a right to that as Americans, which is bizarre because it's so core to so much of what we do.
And so now privacy has gone from being a swear word to being one of the most important narratives in crypto. And it's not about extreme or illicit privacy. It's about what they call compliant privacy, which is the ability to selectively and compliantly shield certain transactions and make them private. And that's how Zcash works. It's like Bitcoin. It has the same 21 million coins in total. It has the same proof of work system, the same halving every 4 years. The only thing is that it uses a technology called zero-knowledge proofs to allow users to selectively shield transactions. transactions. And so it falls perfectly into the narrative of compliant privacy. And that's the narrative that the new administration is encouraging. The second reason is how it's built. Zcash is a copy of Bitcoin. It's built from the same DNA, the same proof of work security, the same 21 million max supply, the same halving schedule. But the one thing that it fixes is the thing that Bitcoin couldn't: privacy. Even Satoshi Nakamoto hinted in his white paper. He said that he acknowledged the need for privacy and said that if zero-knowledge proof technology existed back then, Bitcoin could have been more private and more complete. Zcash is that missing piece. It's Bitcoin, but with built-in privacy.
The good thing about Zcash is you can use all the same Bitcoin things, which is add the word private. So you can say it's digital gold, that's private. You can say it's internet money, that's encrypted. You can say secret Bitcoin.
It also shares Bitcoin scarcity. There'll never be more than 21 million coins. And it has the same halving cycles. The next halving cycle comes in 2028. Right now, Zcash miners earn 1.56 Zcash for every block they mine. After the halving, that'll halve to 0.78. The halving cycle is what used to kickstart all the Bitcoin bull runs. And right now, Zcash is having the exact same setup. The third reason for me is the team. And it's not about the core team. It's way bigger than that. It's about the same smart ideological libertarians that drove Bitcoin, all self-organizing exactly like they did in the old days. But this time, around the human right to privacy. The job's already done on Bitcoin. And so these guys have now got a new mission, a new ideology, the ideology of privacy. And let me tell you, Zcash wasn't built by random developers. It was founded by a very smart team, including 𝗬𝗂𝗏𝘆𝗀𝗏.
My name is Zuko. I am an old school cypherpunk.
He was one of the original crypto OGs that was fighting for online privacy way before crypto was invented.
It consisted of Al Gore, who was the vice president under Bill Clinton, and the FBI and the NSA. And they collectively attempted to prevent the creation and the deployment of encryption. And there was many stages of this battle because the other factions, both within the government, within the larger community and society and economy, correctly saw encryption as necessary to protect the users of this new technology.
He brought together some of the world's best cryptographers, Elie Ben-Sasson, Alessandro 𝗪𝗓, and a whole lot of others. Those were the team that created the first real zero-knowledge proofs that were ever used in crypto. That's the team behind the same ZK tech that now powers ZK Sync, Starknet, and even aspects of Polygon. Some of the biggest names in the space have also backed Zcash. Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, he's a very, very, very vocal supporter of Zcash. Naval Ravikant has also been vocal. He said that Bitcoin is insurance against fiat and Zcash is insurance against Bitcoin. Arthur Hayes, one of the most respected voices in crypto, recently said Zcash to 10,000. And Ansem keeps saying that buying Zcash at $346 is like buying Bitcoin at $346. The fourth reason has to be the tech. Privacy tech can be very complicated, but I'll do my best to simplify it for you. Remember I used the word compliant privacy? Well, that's exactly the technology that Zcash is built on. Compliant privacy means that not every transaction is shielded. And it means that if you're required to track the transaction, you can. Zcash does this very well. Firstly, it allows for shielded transactions and non-shielded transactions. Then it uses ZK technologies or zero-knowledge proofs. In fact, it was the first cryptocurrency to use zero-knowledge proofs for private peer-to-peer payments. Let me explain to you how a zero-knowledge proof actually works. Assuming I had to prove to you that I was over 21 years old, but I didn't want to show you my identity document. How would we do it in such a way that we both agreed? Well, we'd create a platform that would view my ID and verify to you that I'm over 21. You would agree that they saw my ID, but I would never show my ID to you. That's called a zero-knowledge proof, because You have zero knowledge about my ID, but you know I'm over 21. And that's the tech that ZK uses. That means that transactions are being verified without actually revealing any info about the sender, the receiver, or the amount. It's like paying with cash, but doing it online. And unlike the other projects, Zcash was designed to be compliant from day one. You can stay fully private, or you can share your transaction data for audits and taxes if you need to. That balance of privacy and transparency is why institutions like Grayscale were able to launch a Zcash trust. Right now, about 25 to 30% of all Zcash is stored in shielded addresses, where every transaction is encrypted. That number keeps climbing as more wallets and exchanges add support. Zcash isn't just a theory. It's live, it's proven, and it's being used. And it's been used for a long time. And there's something else that people forget to talk about, and that's speed and cost. Bitcoin takes around 10 minutes to confirm a block. Zcash does it in about a minute and 20 seconds. That means that transactions settle about 8 times faster than Bitcoin. And they're cheap. The average transaction fee is around 22 cents. Sometimes even less depending on network activity. Now compare that to Bitcoin, where on a busy day you can pay anywhere between $50, $25, maybe even $100 just to move your money. That's the beauty of Zcash. It works just like digital cash, private digital cash. Fast enough to spend and cheap enough to use every single day. And most importantly, private enough to keep your business your own business. Now for the last reason. And this really gets really interesting. Let's talk about the numbers. Zcash's market cap is around $5.7 billion. Bitcoin's market cap is $2.3 trillion. That means that right now, Zcash is at about 0.25% of Bitcoin size. You see the huge difference? Now, I'm not saying that Zcash and Bitcoin should trade 1-to-1, but I see 2 use cases. One for a store of value, and one for proof of work private money. And as a store of value, Bitcoin's got product market fit. But then there's that need for private money, also secured by a proof of work protocol. So even if the private money narrative only gets to 10% of Bitcoin's market size, well, that makes Zcash at $14,000 a coin. What if it becomes 25%? At 25%, that's $35,000 per coin. From its current price of around $350, that's between a 40 and 100x upside. There are a few times in my life that I've seen a playbook repeating itself so obviously. And when I watch Zcash right now, it feels like I'm reliving the Bitcoin movie from 2015, 2016, and 2017. The same potential, the same price volatility, the same brains trust, all self-organizing. Everything is lined up exactly the same way. I've been there before and I know exactly how it feels. And if I have one regret from 2016, it's that I didn't buy more Bitcoin. But it feels like I'm being given a second chance. I've seen how this movie plays out, if it plays out. I know the risks, I know the rewards. I know that the privacy narrative is heating up, but I also know that we're early. I know the builders are building. I know the halving is near. And I know that the math checks out. And that's why I'm buying Zcash right now and nearly at every price range, and I'm adding it to my portfolio. This is not a trade. This is one of those high conviction tokens that I'm planning on holding for multiple cycles right next to my Bitcoin holdings. Because these setups only come around maybe once in a decade, if they ever happen. And when it comes, you must take it, because if you don't, you're going to look back and say, I wish I saw it back then for what it actually was. So I'm off to buy some more Zcash. Let me know in the comments if you're buying some more Zcash. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, Trade well, my friends.